welcome to Eden Valley Walk-ins Eagles basketball. Tonight we got a home game against the Morris Tigers. We got the announcer, in-house announcer, announcing the visiting starting lineup. So we'll try not to step on his announcement here. Number 3, Tyson Grove, the senior guard. Number 4, Alex Asmus, 6'3" junior guard. We got number 50, Jack Kehoe. We got a couple others. They kind of all ran out on the floor there. I apologize. I didn't get the last couple numbers out. I will tell you here in a minute. For your Eagles, 6' senior guard, number 1, Braden Becker. 6' junior guard, number 3, Caleb DeRose. 5'11" sophomore guard, number 11, Bryce Nyman. 6'3" senior forward, number 2, Preston Langer. And then 6'4" sophomore, number 5, is Tate Kraft. So for the Morris Tigers, you got number 3, Tyson Grove. Number 4, Alex Asmus. Number 50, Jack Kehoe. Number 10, Riley Asmus. And as soon as he turns and I can see his number, I believe it's number 5, Jonah Hubner. It is. All right, ready to tip off here for some EVW Eagles basketball. Tigers win the jump ball. So Tigers going from left to right. Sit up on their offense, moving that ball around. Layup attempt by number 10, Riley Asmus, is good. Nyman will bring the ball back up the floor for the Eagles. Going right to left. Dishes it there to Preston Langer. To Braden Becker. And the ball is passed down for Tate Kraft. And it's mishandled and out of bounds off of Kraft. Becker will meet the Tigers in the backcourt. Tigers get the ball up, take a long three-pointer. It comes up short. Rebounded by Kraft. And Nyman will bring the ball back up the floor now for the Eagles. Becker's met there on the moving the ball around. Looked to me like a little bit of a foul, but nobody called it. So keep playing. Rose has the ball on the wing right now. We're going to get something set up. He dishes it out to Kraft. Out to Becker on the wing. We got 7 seconds left on the shot clock, and the ball is stolen from Becker. And ends up quickly in the hands of Kehoe, who lays it in on the fast break. Score now 4-0 for the Tigers. DeRose gives it to the wing to Becker. Neiman trying to get that ball as Becker had his dribble dead. Nyman has the ball now on the wing. Looking to get something going here. Off to Becker, who takes it down low. Tries for the reverse layup. It's just a little bit strong and misses the rim. Rebounded by the Tigers. Tigers swing that ball around. They take another three-point attempt there. Rebounded by the Tigers. This is part of the Eagles lost their last game on Thursday, and it was kind of in a similar situation. A lot of second chances for the team, not a lot of defensive rebounding, unfortunately. So Just makes it a little bit tough. Goes against holding Ford. Another turnover by the Eagles and another fast break by the Tigers is led now to Coach Jake Anderson calling for a timeout here. And that'll bring that score 8-0 for the Tigers. For the coaches, we've got a head coach for the Tigers is Jacob Torgerson, assisted by Joy Ufrego and Jared Asmus and Scott Goneman. For your Eagles, we're of course coached by the one and only Coach Jacob Anderson. It is assisted by Adam Langer and Josh Strait. All right, Eagles have the ball there now after that timeout. They're being pressed there by the Tigers. Quickly across the floor though to DeRose on the wing as he looks to get something set up on offense here. Nyman's got that ball up on the point now, just kind of looking to get something going here. He's met pretty aggressively there. He takes a fadeaway shot that comes up short. I think it was contested. Tigers got a hand on it, and so it came up quite short and then knocked out of bounds as Becker tried to reach around and see if he can turn something into nothing, or nothing into something rather, and knocked it out of bounds. We got a drive by Riley Asmus going to the rim on the left side, and he is fouled there by one of the Eagles players. First free throw attempt comes up short. Second one is good. There's a score to 9-0. Becker into DeRose as they swing across, trying to break through the press. Becker now takes the point, dishes it off to Nyman. Nyman hands it off to Langer, who now takes it around to the wing. Gives it off to DeRose, who's fouled there on a reaching attempt by Jonah Hubner. Be the first team foul by the Tigers. And Anderson's going to make his first substitution and bring in Braylon Hiltner and have Tate Kraft come out. A lot of bumping up along the three-point line here today for the Tigers. They're just bumping whoever's got the ball up along trying to run the offense. And but I mean, if the refs are going to let it go, then you got to play through it. And it is definitely slowing the Eagles' offense down just a little bit. Jack Kehoe gets the ball down low, and he's able to drive into the paint and score. DeRose will bring the ball up the floor the other way. And DeRose, nearly breaks the scoring open for the Eagles. Comes up just a little bit off on the short jumper. We've got a three-point attempt there by number 3, Tyson Grove, and he drains that. So that's going to bring that score now to 14-0 for the Tigers. Hiltner tries to go for a layup. He's contested there, and it's just a little bit off on that layup attempt. See Jacob Anderson's ready to change the lineup again and bring Matt Hearing in. Well, we're going to have a timeout called here by Jacob Anderson. Again, as Kehoe scored on the layup attempt there for the Tigers. It's going to bring that score now to 16-0. This is obviously not a division game, for the, still obviously not a division game, sorry, for the Eagles. I was just trying to see if I could find somewhere on here what Division Morris actually is, level-wise, but this is a non-conference game for the Eagles and the Tigers, and you can definitely tell it. Up to this point, the Eagles have been a little bit overmatched. Hopefully they can get things going, though, and change things around a little bit. Coming back off the timeout now. Eagles will take the ball in. Now Matt Hearing is in. So you got Hearing, DeRose, Nyman, Hiltner, and Langer in. Missed layup attempt there by the Tigers. And it is rebounded by the Eagles, but as Nyman's taking the ball up the floor, he loses the handle on it. It's turned over to the Tigers. Tigers now look to get something set up. Tigers swing that ball around, get an open three look. It is drained. Scores now 19-0. Okay, so both teams are AA, but right now Morris is undefeated at 11-0. They're first in their conference, and they're ranked 8th in the state. So Morris is a pretty good team here. And your Eagles, normally I do this a little bit before the game, so I do apologize, but my son was playing basketball today. I apologize, it is a conference game today. You got the first team in the conference playing the number 14 team in the conference. So turnover there by the yeah, you've got the just looking at the rankings here. Again, I apologize for a little bit of a dead air. The Morris Tigers are ranked 8th overall in the state, and the Eagles are ranked 304th. So it's a bit of a difference. You got Morris at 11-0 right now, and first in the conference, and then you got the Eagles at 2-7 overall and 14th in the conference. So it is a conference game, but it's at this point, it's a pretty mismatched contest. But hopefully the Eagles can get something going. They did get a bucket in during my little radio silence there as I was doing that little bit of research, and they were able to get a basket going. And now they are getting them in a little bit more going on here, as Becker's able to drain a three and bring that score 19-5. Tigers will look to get things set up here. And as they drop it down low into the post, Huebner has his pocket picked by the one and only Matt Hearing. Hearing is a great energy player. He's really gets things going and moving. And we got DeRose off the assist by Hearing. Hearing brought it up around the point, kicked that out to DeRose, and DeRose drains that three all the way from Paynesville. Now we got a timeout called by the Tigers here, as that coach will want to slow the momentum a little bit. So the Eagles have gotten three quick buckets here, cutting that lead down to 11. Score is down 19-8 for the Tigers. But the Eagles are showing some signs of life and getting things moving. And that's the thing about conference games. Sometimes it's not about records and about where things have been. Sometimes it's just about you play in your conference, you play each other every year a couple times, and that can make for tighter games sometimes than what you think just on records. All right, Tigers pass that ball in. Huebner brings the ball up the floor for the Tigers. Eagles starting to get a little more aggressive on defense, making sure to collapse and get things going. We got a layup attempt by the Tigers that misses. And it was on Huebner taking the layup attempt that he missed. And but he got his own rebound and went up again, was fouled that time. Second team foul by the Eagles. Fouls are 2-2. Huebner hits the first shot. Eagles will bring the ball up the floor here now. Huebner made both free throws. The lead is now 21-8. Hearing tries to pass across to Becker, and that pass is intercepted by Huebner, who gets the fast break for the left-handed layup. Now DeRose has the ball up on the wing. Hiltner sets the screen. Passes it over to Kraft on the other wing. And DeRose looking to get somebody set up here. He drives to the lane, steps back, passes it over to Kraft at the point. Kraft looking to get something going. 10 seconds left on the shot clock. Herring looking for who to pass the ball to, gives it off to DeRose. DeRose trying to drive. He's started pretty heavy there. We got 1 second left on the shot clock. It's headed into Kraft, who's able to get a three-point away. That's a little bit long. Pretty good defensive effort there by the Tigers. I haven't looked real closely at the heights for the Tigers, but just sitting here watching the game, you can definitely see that the height differential between the Tigers and the Eagles is pretty good. I would say there's at least two players on the floor taller than our tallest player, and the next players down have a whole bunch of players that are kind of taller than everybody on average, a fair bit taller. Three-point attempt there by the Tigers. Rims in and out, rebounded by Kraft. Hearing has the ball that he'll bring up the floor. Not that height is everything in basketball, but it can be hard when you're one of the shorter players dealing with some, across the board, some real big players. It makes it hard to get sight to the rim and get some momentum going. Hearing takes a really quality shot there that comes just a little bit off. And shot goes a little bit wide, rebounded by Becker, but then he loses the handle on it. Now we get a couple layup attempts there by Alex Asmus. And he has that, he's eventually fouled on about the third layup attempt. So he'll get to shoot for two here. Makes the first. Anderson's going to bring in Nyman and Langer back to the game. So now on the floor for the Eagles, you got Becker, Kraft, DeRose, Langer, and Nyman. So the original starting five. Shot goes up again. Rebounded by Becker. It's across to Langer and up to DeRose. DeRose looks to get the offense going. He's met right away there by Osmos. And then DeRose goes to shoot that shot and is just a little off the mark on that layup attempt. Rebounded by the Tigers. Again, DeRose was hit kind of right up at the point, and refs are seeming to let a lot of that go today. So, you know, it's about the only time you really can complain about reffing is when you find that it gets to be inconsistent. Or, I mean, be careful. We shouldn't really ever get too big into complaining about reffing. It rarely decides the game. Honestly, rarely, especially at the high school level. But when you've got, if they're letting things go both ways to a certain way, then it's the player and coach's job to adjust to that. And so if they're letting a little bit of pushing and banging go on, as long as it's consistent, then it's the team's job to adjust to that and carry on. So Kehoe was fouled there on a layup attempt, and he hits the first, misses the second. Rebound layup attempt there by the Tigers is missed, and then rebounded by the Eagles. Rosa brings the ball up across the floor to Nyman on the wing. Nyman looks to drive, gets something going. He has his pocket pick there. Very handsy the Tigers are, and quick outbreak pass there by the Tigers for another layup. Eagles looking to get that offense going. Langer takes a real long three that he drains from all the way in downtown Kimball. Well, he had to be 5-6 feet nearly beyond the arc there on that shot. Nice long left-handed shot there by Langer. Tigers drive and kick the ball back out. And Tyson Grove hits his own three-point shot there. Scores now 30-13 for the Tigers. They don't care how far up ahead they are. They're just going to keep things going. DeRose drives down low. He was easily fouled there twice, but again, they're letting that stuff go. But he gets it across to Becker, who was able to lay it in. Tigers quickly the other way are able to get the three-point play going. They can be tiring on the guards, though, when they're constantly being hammered by players. It does get to be a little bit tough, but again, if they're going to let it go, you're going to let it go. You got to learn how to play through it. Substitution of Herring in for DeRose. There was a foul called at that time by the refs on the Tigers for a reach-in and bump attempt. And so we have a reverse layup attempt there by Herring driving baseline, and he's able to put it in, but it did look like the ball might have bounced off the top of the backboard for a second, which is a no-no. That's automatically out of bounds on the top, but refs didn't call it, so that dropped in for two. Well, there we go. There was a great example, as there was a driving player there by the Tigers who was bumped pretty hard by two Eagles players, hard enough that he had the ball knocked out of his hands, but it was on the ground and the refs did not call it. They're letting a bit of that bumping and checking go a little bit there. So that one is one that I could have easily seen going against the Eagles. On the inbound attempt, it is a layup for the Tigers. Nyman brings the ball, drops it down to Kraft, who's able to get the drop step layup in for the Eagles in a quick play. Anderson yelling out the defensive assignments here. On the floor for your Eagles right now, you've got Nyman, Herring, Becker, Langer, and Kraft in the game. Tigers looking to get the ball going in a 3-2 set. Swinging that ball around, trying to get an open guy. Drop it down to Kehoe in the post. 6'5", tough guy. And the ball's bounced around there and eventually knocked out of bounds by the Eagles. Now Coach Anderson will bring Hiltner in and give Kraft a little break. Hiltner is just a hair taller than Kraft at 6'5" to Kraft 6'4". They often will spell each other, give each other breaks. Nyman moves that ball around. We got a off-ball or away from the ball foul, however you want to call it, off-ball foul by the Tigers, pulling on Hiltner there. Hiltner was in the post and had a Tigers player having his arms wrapped around him, so they called him with a hold on that one. And so that'll be only the fourth team foul, so the Eagles will take it down below their own basket. Nyman looking to get that ball passed in. Drops it down low to DeRose in the corner, who hands it off to Nyman. Screens for Nyman, and then tried to do quick pick and roll. But off of DeRose's hands and out of bounds. Inbounded by the Tigers as they bring the ball up across half. We got a little over 3 minutes to go here in the first half. Again, the Tigers are up 37-19. Fouls are 4 apiece. It's been a physical game. 3-point attempt there by the Tigers. Rebounded for a moment by the Tigers, but got knocked out of that player's hands. And now back the other way by Nyman, who goes baseline and passes the ball out. Passes the ball out to the point, where the shot attempt is put up by Becker and then rebounded by the Tigers. Followed quickly by a foul there by Becker on the rebounder. It was kind of a bit of a rough foul. Fans were a little bit enthused, I'll say it that way, about that foul. Tigers setting their offense up here. Back again in the 3-2 offense. They have their post cut quite a bit. Eagles doing a good job of staying on the ball on this series. 7 seconds left in the shot clock, and Nyman's able to knock it away momentarily and contest it. And the Eagles get a pretty good defensive stop there as the Tigers had to basically take a wild 3-point attempt there as the timer was expiring. Rebounded by the Eagles. Quickly up the floor for a Nyman layup. Score now 37-21. Nice cut and layup there by the Tigers. A lot of jawing now starting to go on between the players there. I'm not a fan of too much of this level of basketball. Just play. Cutting play there by Becker, who's able to jump, step, and drive up for a layup there. Seen the Eagles come back with a little bit of life here. Good defensive series leads into a couple of quick layups. Long 3-point attempt there by Benjamin Timon comes off, and the Eagles rebound. Nyman now at the point, swings it to Becker on the wing. Becker tries to drive baseline, swings it out to DeRose for the 3-pointer, and it's just a little bit short. Rims off the rim and drops into a Tigers hand. That's one I think he would love to have back. Would have been a bit of a game changer there. Quick left-handed drive there by Tyson Grove to get a layup for the Tigers. Neiman now's challenge going up the floor there by Alex Asmus, but is able to bring the ball all the way to the baseline, takes a fadeaway jumper that's a little bit off, rebounded by DeRose, who goes up, gets his own rebound again, where he is fouled that time by Asmus. And now DeRose will get to shoot two. DeRose with his first shot. Oh, rims in and out. He's usually a pretty good free throw shooter, but everybody's off every once in a while. Right now in for your Eagles, you got Langer, Kraft, DeRose, Becker, and Nyman. Starting five. DeRose here with his second attempt. That one's a swish. It's usually what his shots look like. 43 seconds left on the game clock. Hubner takes the ball up the floor. Hubner drives. Quick right-handed layup, driving down the lane. Eagles got to step in front of those. We got 30 seconds left on the game and shot clock as DeRose has the ball. He's challenged coming up the wing, but he's able to spin out of trouble on that one. He's met there quickly by Alex Asmus, who fouls him, trying to reach in for that ball. Now we have a technical foul call here by the Tigers as Asmus was complaining about that foul call and kept jawing. So they're going to call it as a technical foul. DeRose hits the first of those. So in the technical foul, coach can pick a player. He gets two shots and they get the ball back. So DeRose makes the first one and the second shot. And now it'll be Eagles ball from the sideline. Coach Torgerson sits Asmus down after that one and brings in Riley Asmus in his stead. You have to ask a Morris player if they're brothers or cousins, but they are senior and junior. Ball from Nyman to Becker is knocked away by Ozzie Jerome and out of bounds. So again, Eagles ball here with 10 seconds left to go on the game clock. Inbound to DeRose, who's going to take a quick two-point fade away from just above the block. Cut that score 43 to 28. Back the other way by Asmus, who takes a long three-pointer that comes up short. So the Eagles rally to bring that score down a little bit and bring the score to 43 to 28. This has been a physical first half of Eagles basketball. And we are going to step away here at the halftime and let the music and whatever else ring through the camera mics. And we will be back for the second half of Eagles versus Tigers basketball. And we are back for the second half of Eagles basketball. Today is the home game of the Eagles taking on the Morris Tigers. I think it's technically the Morris area Tigers, but we got a score right now of 43-28 for those Tigers. Physical first half. Refs letting lots go. Anything down on the floor seemed to be just about okay. DeRose has the ball up in the wing, getting challenged there. Has the ball swatted a little bit, but is able to pass it off to Kraft and back to him. Now off to Langer on the wing. We got the same starting five in as the beginning of the game. Kraft drops it down to Langer, who goes up to lay it in with his left hand and is fouled pretty quickly there by Jack Kehoe. Eagles were a little bit overmatched early in the game as that score was up. I'm trying to remember exactly what it was, but it was something like 12-13 nothing. And then at one point it was 19-2. So the fact that the Eagles are back within 15 here and threatening to bring that down even a little bit more is good. It's a good recovery by the Eagles. They brought their physical game back out and they're pushing back here a little bit. So Langer misses the first one, but hits the second one to cut that lead to 14. Tigers will bring the ball up the floor. Swinging that ball around, looking to get something going here. Tall team. Down to Kehoe, who is a 6'5" senior center. And in a nice cutting play, he gets a pretty unchallenged layup there. Anderson's not going to like that one too much as the Eagles somebody missed an assignment on the cut. But nevertheless, Eagles back the other way. Langer has it up at the point, passes it off to Nyman. Nyman takes a long three-pointer and drains that all the way from downtown Watkins. Drop down into Kehoe down low in the post. He goes up high and Kraft tips his hand a little bit as he goes up for the left-handed layup, and they call a foul on Kraft. So now Kehoe will get 2 free throw shots here. Coach Torgerson barking at his guys. I know I watched the C Squad game earlier as my 9th grade son plays on the C Squad, and that was also quite a physical matchup. I would say that even more so than this. Those refs maybe tend sometimes to let the game get a little bit out of hand at times, but it was a physical matchup, and Morris, I think even at the younger levels, is taught to play quite aggressive. And they definitely did do that. They played very aggressive. And if Torgerson holds true to the way the 9th grade or the C Squad coach was coaching, that coach was up and down and left and right and never really did stop barking too much. And Torgerson seems to be a little bit cut the same cloth, which there's nothing wrong with that. Just the way things are, just a certain way certain coaches do things, and sometimes it's an area or a school that tends to have a certain mentality and way of being, and that's just only one man's observation of what the way Morris is. Vocal head coaches, although Jacob Anderson is not always the quietest coach himself. DeRose has the ball. He passes across to Becker. Now Becker looks to get the offense going, and he bit of a lazy pass to Nyman is intercepted, and Jacob Anderson wants nothing to do with that. That was a bit of a lazy pass there as the Eagles had cut that lead to 13 and real quickly is up to 20 points. So Anderson's going to take a full 1 minute timeout here and have a little discussion with the guys here about what he needs out of them to get back into this game. On these physical games, though, I mean, it's been a lot of years since I played high school basketball. I won't tell you how old I am. It's been a long time. And I do know this. In these physical games, the more physical it is, the more effort you're going to have to put in and push through blocks and hits and chips and slaps and pushes. That's an exhausting thing, but a lot of times it's the only way to stay in a game like this is to raise your own. I don't mean get physical as in hit and push and punch and that kind of physical. I just mean bring your intensity and your energy up, play a lot of energy ball. So I think maybe the coach here will bring Matt Hearing in soon, who's probably one of his best energy players that I've seen for his team, being able to push and drive and play with a lot of effort. Nyman's very similar. Eagles will pass that ball in, and Nyman will take the ball up the floor. They got they're met in the back floor by two Tigers players right away. Gets it across to Kraft, who hands it back to Nyman. But this time, maybe the refs had a little discussion with the coaches at the halftime, not sure, but that feels like a foul that would have been let go in the previous half that was called this time. So it'll help a little bit for both sides. They don't need quite that physical play going. So Nyman fakes a three-pointer, steps through, and takes a two-point jumper from the left top of the key. Just a little bit off on that shot, rebounded by the Tigers. Hubner goes to drive down with that ball, and he has that ball knocked away by Kraft on a pretty clean play. Hubner didn't like it though, as he stops to complain to the ref rather than get back into the game. Nyman now for a long three-pointer, just a little bit off on that one. Kraft and Osmos there battle for the rebound, knocked out of bounds. Ref is saying off of Kraft's hands, so it'll be Tigers ball. Kehoe drives the ball down low, kicks it back out to the three-point line. Three-point attempt there by the Tigers, and then rebounded by those same Tigers off the miss. We got a foul down low by the block as Tyson Grove is driving around the right side of the lane. Nyman putting a little body to him, kind of trying to push him away from that, being able to get under the basket a little bit, and they call the foul on him. So again, refs seem to be very consistent, a little bit letting things go a little bit more in the first half, and a little more sticky in the foul calling in the second half. Three-point shot there by the Tigers falls. Becker drives and is high pointed there as the Tigers give a defensive stand and block against that shot. They stayed up pretty upright, so the refs didn't call it. Hubner gets the ball there, driving through the lane, and he's held there by Becker. Hiltner into the game now and give Kraft a break, along with Hearing, who will give Becker a break. Eagles have a couple real good young players there in Kraft and Hiltner, Nyman and Hearing and DeRose, all underclassmen. That's 3/5 of the starting lineup will be here next year, along with a couple of young players like Hiltner and Hearing that'll get a little bit more experience under the belt yet. Kehoe is able to get on the fast break and lay that ball in. Nyman is challenged in the back court there by Jerome. Nyman brings the ball up on the wing here. Driving around, looking to get something going. Fakes the two-point shot. Dishes that ball off to Langer. That ball is contested by Hubner, but ends up back in Nyman's hands. He passes it off to DeRose, who's able to lay it in through two Tigers players. DeRose is the type of player that can get on a pretty good hot streak and get things going pretty quickly. Not the tallest of players, but has a real good shot. Won Conference Player of the Week here a couple weeks ago after a pretty good game against Swanville. Langer takes a long three-point shot, rims in and out. That was close. Rebounded by Hiltner, though. Makes a big difference when you're shooting on offense. You can get them offensive rebounds. Second and third chances make a huge difference. So the Tigers drive the ball down to the baseline and kick the ball back. Way too, I don't want to say too much, but it felt like a little bit of a miscommunication or something there because he had a bit of an easier layup attempt, it felt like. Tigers don't care that they're up by almost 30 points here. They are just continuing to just drive and push and play. Langer there, though, on a really nice defensive effort against Osmos, is able to block that, but then Langer tries to drive left side of the lane, and the ball is knocked out of his hands and ends up in a Tigers' hands. So Tigers the other way, moving that ball around. Going to be a pretty wide three-point look for the Tigers that they miss. Second three-point attempt. That one not quite so wide open, though, as Nyman contested a little bit. Ball turned over there by the Eagles to the Tigers, and Kehoe drives down the lane off of a quick pass and is fouled there. Score now 61-34 for the Tigers. 4 team fouls against the Eagles, 2 against the Tigers. Feels a little bit like this physical game is wearing the Eagles players out a little bit, but it felt a little bit that way at the beginning of the first half yesterday, and those Eagles really turned it on a little bit later in that half and really put stuff back in, and I hope they can kind of get that going here soon. The Eagles players all year have been real resilient, and so I would expect a pretty good effort from them still yet in this game, even with the score down, even with them down by 28 points. Anderson brings Kraft back into the game, and Becker. So now you've got DeRose, Herring, Becker, Kraft, and Nyman in the game. Missed shot by the Eagles leads to some more Tigers offense. Grove with a long three-point attempt that misses. The Eagles have been able to get out on a lot of those three-point attempts, so at least get a hand in the face. Groves with a nice drive and spin move for a layup. So DeRose looks like he's heating up a little bit. Pass quickly into Grove. Kraft contests that, but Grove is able to get that layup in. Hearing quickly back the other way, comes up on the wing. Kraft sets a pick for him. Hearing with a quick layup over top of Asmus. A little bit more energy ball from the Eagles as Huebner is able to drive. He was contested by 2 Eagles players and is still able to get that layup to fall. Nyman picks up his dribble on the wing, passes to DeRose at the point, off to Becker, who drops it there for Hearing. Over to Nyman, who takes a long three-pointer and drains that all the way from downtown Manana. Score now 66-41 as the Eagles get a few good shots to fall here and start chipping away at that lead. That's what they need to do to get back in this game. Another three-point attempt missed by the Tigers, and then on the rebound attempt by the Tigers, they knocked the ball out of bounds. So now it's going to be Eagles ball. Becker passes it into Herring. Nyman will come out for a break, and now we got Hiltner and Kraft. Twin Towers in the game for the Eagles here. With Coach Anderson going with a little bit of a taller lineup, we got a off-ball foul. Fouls on number white 0, Benjamin Tiernan, on the off-ball foul. So we need a third team foul there by the Tigers. So it'll be Eagles ball on their own baseline. Quick pass in from Hearing to DeRose, and DeRose is able to get the baseline jumper in to fall. Score now 66-43. Eagles keep chipping away here. Nobody's ready to give in and go home yet. Eagles showing some signs of life and tenacity, which is great to see. Ball passed down low to the Tigers and mishandled there by a player. DeRose quickly up the floor, kicks it out to Hearing, who drains that ball all the way from downtown Watkins on the three-point attempt by Matt Hearing. That's going to cut that lead to 20 points on one of the best stretches for the Eagles all night. Still got a bit of a hill to climb here for the Eagles, but they are doing what needs to be done to get themselves back in the game here. Great series of shots there by the Eagles as they've knocked almost 10 points off the lead so far here just in the last minute and a half or so, a couple minutes. It's good to see, you know, a lot of times, just like in life, but a lot of times when you're down, the only thing you can do is fight and scrap and claw and push your way back into a game. And it's, you know, it's that or it's give up and go home. And it's great to see the young guys staying with that fire and tenacity and getting themselves back into this game. Great to see that Eagles pride here on display by these players. On the floor right now for the Eagles, you got Kraft, Hiltner, Becker, Hearing, and DeRose. Tigers bring the ball up the floor here. Austin's pointing out the plays. Dishes it off to the wing. Gets the ball back himself. Looks to drive. Cut off there by Hearing and Kraft. Oh, we got a bit of a bumping foul there by Kraft. Again, that's a play in the first half that definitely would have gone uncalled. But the second half, again, they're being consistent. They're calling a lot of those bumps and stuff. So Kraft bumped Asmus a little bit there, and they called that on the floor. So there's 5 team fouls now for the Eagles. They got one more foul to give before reaching the bonus. Tigers moving the ball around. Asmus drives, and he's able to get a layup attempt off, but it's contested there. And on the loose ball there, it was knocked around between an Eagles and Tigers player quite a bit and ends up in the hands of a Tigers player. They get a three-point attempt that misses and rebounded again by the Tigers. And that's just been something that's been hard in this game here. Is a lot of offensive rebounds by the Tigers has made this be a challenging game because they've gotten a lot of second and third shot attempts here. But no harm, no foul on that one. And it's now Eagles ball as Kraft was able to rebound off that last shot attempt. Up the floor to Rose here for the three-pointer. Oh, just a little bit short. Becker gets a hand on it there for a second, but it's rebounded there by the Tigers. And Anderson's going to want to bring Nyman back into the game. We'll see who he takes out. Layup attempt there by Alex Asmus over the top of the front of the rim. Hearing brings the ball down, and he's blocked there by one of the Tanner Friesen of the Tigers. Haven't called that name yet today, but he blocks Hearing on the baseline attempt. Shot by the Tigers there, comes up short, rebounded by Becker. Becker will bring that his own rebound up the floor. Hands it off to Hearing, who'll set up at the point. He's got Kraft and Hiltner looking to get something set up here. Ball knocked away by one of the Tigers players, and Hearing's able to track it down in the backcourt and get it. Hands it off to Kraft, who's driving now, trying to get something going. He drives and dishes it down low to Caleb DeRose, who is able to put it up for the shot and the harm. DeRose here to get his three-point attempt the hard way. Coach Anderson brings Langer and Nyman back in and gives Becker and Hiltner a break. It was a good driving and dishing attempt there by Kraft to give DeRose a nice layup attempt there. And DeRose makes it a 3-point play. So it cuts that lead to 19 points. Eagles bring the ball back up the floor. Sorry, on that last layup attempt, I said that was Alex Osmos that had laid that in. That was actually Tyson Grove. Just wanted to correct myself there. Quick pass play to a cutting Huebner who's able to lay it in. The guards for the Tigers are tall and strong, and they love to cut and get a lot of those types of shots in. Neiman's froze up there up at the point, but he's able to get that ball dished off to Hearing, who tries to lay it in with a little spinning layup. It comes up a little bit off. Hearing chases players down the other way. Tigers fake a 3-point shot, kick it down to the corner. Ball swung all the way across court to Huebner, who's met there by Kraft, where he's just not able to get a shot attempt going. Pass down to Kehoe, who misses the layup and comes with his own shot. And now Nyman is called on the foul. His arms are pretty straight up, and seems to me like Kehoe went right up through his arms, but they're going to call him for that. Herring's going to be brought out of the game for a quick break, and Becker brought back in. 2 shots here for Kehoe. Drains those. Now it's Eagles ball. Rose brings the ball up the floor. He looks to get something going here. He drives down low. He's pushed quite a bit there by Bryce Hardy. Out to Langer, who steps across, takes a nice left-handed 3-pointer. He's made a few of those today, but a little bit off the target on that one. Rebounded there by the Tigers. Tigers fake their own 3-pointer shot attempt there. They dish that ball off. Kehoe down low where he's guarded by Kraft, and Kraft's able to contest that enough that Kehoe can't get a clean shot, layup shot in there. Rebounded by Kraft, up to Becker now, who drives down low with a spinning attempt. Oh, just a little bit off, right off the back of the rim. There by Becker on the spinning layup attempt. Huebner drives the ball down low, loses the handle on it, and picked up by DeRose. DeRose brings the ball up the floor, kicks out to Langer, up to Becker. Becker drives to the lane, sends it out wide to Nyman, who takes a 3-point shot. It's just a little bit off. And rebounded by the Tigers. Now this will be Asmus, bring the ball up the floor. He passes it off to the other Asmus. And that ball keeps getting spun around. He's looking for a shot attempt there. Over to Huebner, and drops it down low to Kehoe. Kehoe loses the handle on the ball, but is able to pick it up off the floor. Throws it out to Alex, who's able to get a 3-pointer that misses. And off the rebound scrum, the ball is knocked out of bounds by the Tigers. And it's going to be Eagles ball. They're going to call for a Tigers are going to call for a timeout there. So they can kind of discuss what's going on and get things going here. I mean, they've climbed a little bit out of the hole they were in. They were never, I guess, technically really in a hole. They'd blown about a 10-point lead. They've kind of increased that back, got about 4 of that 10 back. So lead is now by 24 with the score being 73-49. Fouls are 6 against the Eagles, 4 against the Tigers. This has not been near as physical of a second half as the first half was. The refs have called this half a lot tighter. But Anderson looking to get some stuff drawn up here for defense now as the Tigers bring the ball up the floor. See if the Eagles can get a few more shots to fall here quickly and get things moving again here. All right, that's the end of that timeout. We've got just over 3.5 minutes left to go in the game here. Might be a bit of an insurmountable hill here for the Eagles, but you gotta love the way that they're playing and fighting. It was actually Eagles ball, not Tigers ball. And Nyman will bring the ball up the floor. You got on the floor, you got Nyman, Langer, Kraft, Becker, and DeRose. DeRose goes baseline, he's trapped there. Hands it off to Nyman, who fakes a handoff to him and goes up for a layup, where he is fouled there by a Tigers player. That one was called on Jerome from behind. So now Nyman will get to shoot 2 here. Nyman is a little bit short on that second one. Brings the point total for them up to 50. We got Nyman sitting up on the wing there. He drops it down to Rose, who tries to go up for the layup. He's contested there by a Tigers player. They don't call the foul on it, so a contested missed layup is picked up by the Tigers player. And Kraft rebounds, does the defensive rebound there. Nyman brings the ball up the floor. He's being challenged pretty hard there. That was one time that he had a player in Bryce Hardy who was pushing him pretty hard physically, and they didn't let that one, or they didn't call that one. So it was the first little bit of inconsistency I've seen, but he didn't have any hands swinging wildly and whatnot, so the refs let it go. It is a little under 2 minutes left to go in the game, so refs might be just saying we don't need to slow this down too much. Although there, Jerome goes up for a layup, and he's fouled there by Langer. Well, actually, they called that on Kraft. It's his 3rd foul. So my name is Mike. It's been a pleasure to do this game with you here, as we got a little bit under 2 minutes left to go. We have two of us that kind of go back and forth a little bit on announcing, myself and Joe DeRose, who's the father of Caleb, and as much as he possibly can, he prefers to watch his son play to calling games. But Joe started doing these live streams last year, and one of his things that he tried to incorporate in the game is a inspirational quote. And so when I'm in calling games, I've tried to do the same. So I've got a basketball inspirational quote today that seems fitting. This one's by LeBron James. That is, I'm going to use all my tools, my God-given ability, and make the best life I can with it. And I just like the quote, partly because it's a basketball player, but also because, listen, you just got to do what you're given with, hard work, effort, and do the best that you possibly can with it. And that's all that anybody can require of themselves. The Eagles had a couple young guys substituted in here. They've got number 21, Braden Molitor, brought in, and number 13, Caleb Meerhofer, brought in. So on the floor right now, you've got Hearing, Kraft, Molitor, Meerhofer, and Hiltner. So the only starter on the floor right now is Kraft. He had just gotten fouled on a layup too, and he's able to get his first of 2 shots in. Just under a minute left to go in the game here. I don't imagine things will get too wild now at this point with the score 77-54. Kraft makes the second one. A couple underclassmen in for the Tigers as well as they bring the ball up the floor. Well, there's a bit of a travel there as that player reset a couple times without doing anything, but refs didn't call it. So he gets a 3-point shot that's a little bit wild, rebounded by Kraft. And the Eagles bring the ball back up the floor. Drop down into Hiltner at the high post. Hiltner go down and get a layup attempt as it was challenged. He's unable to put it in. Tigers bring the ball up the floor the other way. 20 seconds left to go on both the game and shot clock. Tigers moving that ball around, looking to get a three-point attempt. And Jerome hits a three-pointer. Little stat padding there by Jerome. And Matt Hearing drives to the center of the lane and gets his own layup there to finish the game out. And that'll be the end of this game with the Morris Tigers 80 and your Eden Valley Watkins Eagles 56. That was a tough-fought game with the 14th place Eagles taking on the first place Morris Tigers. A lot of good effort there from our Eagles, but come up just a little bit short. I believe the next game is on the road for the Eagles. And we do have a home game, if I'm not mistaken, this Saturday, which will be live streaming here. You can find us on the YouTube channel, the Eagles YouTube channel, and I hope you join us. Until the next time, my name is Mike Harrison, and I'm wishing you a safe night. God bless. Thank you for joining us on this Eagles basketball.